Welcome back to another episode of Streetwise English. I'm your host, Carl. This podcast is usually a conversation between two different people, or at least an interview. In this episode, I'm going to just tell you a story about when I went to Europe when I was just a young buck and didn't have any kind of traveling experience, and a big mistake that I made while in the streets of Naples, Italy. So join me. This will be a short one. It's only about 15 minutes long, but I hope you learn from my mistakes and enjoy this podcast. Let's go. Hello, this is Carl from Streetwise English. Today I want to share with you a story about the time that I bought a camera while traveling in Europe. This was many years ago, and this was one of my very first international trips. I grew up in the US, and I had only traveled to Mexico and Canada before that, because the northern border is, of course, Canada, and the southern border is Mexico in the US. So this was my first trip outside of the Americas, and I was on an adventure to go on a backpacking trip throughout Europe. So at the time, you could buy a Euro-Rail pass and cross between all the different countries in Europe for, let's say, a 2-month period or a 1-month, 30-day period. You could just buy one pass and then travel all across Europe. So I was excited, and I just got to Europe, and I was in Naples, Italy. Now, Naples, Italy is famous for its pizza. It has pizza on every corner, and it is delicious. I remember the pizza in Naples. Now, the other thing I remember about Naples is an experience where I was about to check into my hotel, and it was the cheapest hotel I could find. It was right next to the train station. Now, I didn't know at the time, but the train station in Naples is not a very good place to find a hotel, because it can be dangerous, or I don't know, there are some troublemakers there. But at the time, I was just trying to find the cheapest hotel possible, and I was exhausted. I was traveling, and I had my bags on me. Anyways, I was traveling through the streets. I was near the train station in Naples, and all of a sudden, a very friendly guy named Mario, I think he told me his name was Mario later, he approached me and said, "Hey, are you interested in buying a camera? Would you like to buy a video camera?" And this was many, many years ago. And I was traveling. I mean, I don't want to tell you how many years ago it was, but I think it was around 20 years ago. So anyways, this guy came up, and he was so friendly, and he was telling me that he was going to give me a really good deal, a big discount on a second-hand video camera. It was a Sony video camera. And at the time, 20 years ago, this camera was selling for, I can't remember if it was $1,500, $1,500 or something like that, brand new. Now, he had this camera, and he was selling it. I can't remember the exact amount, but I think it was probably around $300 or $400, which at the time I was thinking, wow, that's a great price. I can buy this camera, and then when I get back home, I was living in Hawaii at the time, I could sell the camera on eBay for double the price I'd bought it and make money and use the camera during my trip throughout Europe. And on this trip, I was planning on going all the way from Italy down to Greece, and then all the way up through Europe all the way to Sweden. So I had a big journey ahead of me, and I could really use this video camera. Now, I was looking at the camera and I was thinking, okay, so Mario pulls out the camera and he shows me, and it's just this beautiful Sony video camera with a flip out LCD screen where you can view what you're recording, and you can play back the video you've recorded. And it's kind of like a handy cam thing with a little strap that you put on your hand for handheld video recording. Now, I was looking at this thing and I was thinking, well, maybe it's broken. Maybe he's selling it for so cheap because it has some kind of problems, or some kind of, maybe the lens is cracked or something. Like I couldn't figure out why he was going to be selling it for so cheap. I'm not sure if it crossed my mind, but even I thought maybe I'm not sure, but perhaps the camera was hot, meaning it was stolen, or secondhand, or the guy was just trying to get rid of it for cheap. I don't know, but I was inspecting the camera and I turned it on and I recorded video and it looked beautiful. I mean, it was just like high definition, crystal clear images. I played it back, no problems. The lens looked clean. It was just a beautiful camera, but I hadn't even checked into my hotel yet. And so I was just a tourist fresh into Naples, on my way to my hotel. And okay, so I was right outside of the hotel, and I think it might have been my second day there. So I wasn't really looking to buy a camera. I was carrying everything on my back. I had a big backpack, and at that time I had a film camera, 35 millimeter photography camera, a still photo camera. Maybe it was a Nikon or a Canon, with a bunch of canisters of film, 35 millimeter film. And I wasn't really interested in buying a digital video camera. They were very new at the time and very expensive. But anyways, this guy was so friendly. He insisted on getting me to try the camera, and that he was going to give me a really good deal. And he was like my best friend. I mean, he was a really, really friendly, smiley, charming guy. Anyways, I try the camera out. I can't find anything wrong with it. I mean, it just seems like too good to be true. I mean, what a great deal. I'm going to buy this camera. My plan, what I was thinking was, I'll buy the camera, and then when I get back to Hawaii, after using it on my 30-day trip throughout Europe, crossing all the way north to Sweden and back, that I would use the camera, and then I would get back home, and then I would sell it online on eBay, and then make all my money and even earn a profit, because the price was, I was going to buy it for so low. Anyways, Mario is very friendly, and he guarantees me that there's nothing wrong with the camera. It's just a great deal. So I take out my cash, and he takes the camera, puts it back into its case. And now the case, he said, the problem was that he didn't have the original case, and it was kind of like a makeshift case. It was made of like a toiletries bag, kind of like what you'd put your razor and your soap and your shampoo into when you're traveling, and your toothbrush. So it was like a nice leather case, but it was not the original camera case. So I give him the money, and he puts the camera in the case, and then he even wraps it into a nice exterior plastic bag so that I can carry it. And ties the top, hands it to me. I give him the money, and then I'm walking back into my hotel. And back then, I remember you had to store your key at the front desk. It was kind of weird, so you didn't ever carry your key. So I gave him whatever proof of ID I had, And then he gave me the front desk person gave me the key. I went up to my room, and this is a crummy little hotel room right next to the train station in Naples. And I go up to my room. My feet are tired. I've been walking around town. I've got this brand new camera. I was so excited. So then I open it up and open the bag, and I can't wait to use it, charge the battery and get ready. And I open up the plastic, and it was really kind of hard to open up. I had to untie the top, tied it quite tight, and open it up. And then I opened up the toiletries leather bag. And then when I zipped the zipper back, instead of seeing the camera, there was a half-sized water bottle. And I just couldn't believe it. I took my hand, I slapped my forehead, and I was just thinking, what a sucker I've been had. This guy totally just scammed me. This must be like the oldest trick in the book. It's the old switcheroo. So somehow Mario had taken the beautiful Sony video camera and maybe passed it off to a partner. And then instead he put in this water bottle into this case and then tied it up into put it inside of the plastic bag and tied it up quickly. And I unknowingly took the water bottle inside of the toiletries bag instead of the camera. Now, why did he use the water bottle? Well, the water bottle was almost the exact same weight as the camera. So it was basically just substituting the weight of the water bottle for the camera so that in my hand it would feel exactly like the water bottle. I was looking at this this water bottle up in my hotel room after just dishing out all that cash, and I was upset, but I wasn't angry. I was almost like laughing at myself for being so stupid and admiring this guy for being so smooth in his scam. His hands, it was almost like a magic trick. Like he'd done it so perfectly that I had no idea that I was scammed until it was too late. So the end of the story is I never saw Mario again. I never got a shiny new Sony camera. And I learned my lesson that when you're on the streets and you're traveling, don't buy electronic goods. Don't buy anything very expensive because there are a lot of scammers out there. And especially in big cities near train stations, you don't want to be purchasing things on the streets, whether it's cameras or watches or anything like that, because chances are you are going to get scammed. And also these people that are selling these items are very friendly. I mean, this guy Mario was like my best friend. I mean, the guy was very charming. So that's my story for today. That was the most expensive water bottle I ever bought in my life. And it was an expensive mistake to make, but that was the beginning of my Euro trip. And that was probably the worst thing that happened on my trip. So everything else went pretty smoothly. And I hope you enjoyed this story, and I hope you never make the same mistake and you don't get scammed on the street. But that's my story, and I am a italki American English tutor here, and you can book a class with me if you'd like to, or just listen to my podcast here. So thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day. Adios, amigos.